Welcome back to the Road Show. This morning in the buzz, the September 11th terrorist attacks, truly a defining moment in history, no doubt about that. And although many of us lived through the events and watched them play out in real time, for a lot of younger students, these life-altering events are kind of unclear because they might have been really young when it happened. So as the 10th anniversary of the attacks approaches, educators at all levels are grappling with endless variations of the problem. How do you teach something that everybody knows about but few understand? Well, here's the first problem. It's bad timing. You know, the anniversary takes place very early in the school year. For many, it's actually their very first week back to class. And as a result, educators say they kind of shrink back from presenting accounts of the attacks in detail, especially to younger kids. They're afraid of terrifying their students before they've even earned their trust for the school year. Another problem, although adults have very vivid memories from that day, most of the members of this year's high school freshman class were in preschool at the time. And that turned September 11th into history instead of a current event. It's really, really interesting when you think about all the different levels that people deal with this. So what do you think, Patrick, about addressing younger generations? I mean, your kids were, my daughter was 3 weeks old, my oldest, when September 11th happened.
Well, my son was born as a result of September 11th, because I remember we had just gotten married, and I said, let's not wait around here. Let's start a family.
Right.
So he's technically a September 11th baby, born in 2002. In any event, this is, to me, this whole thing, this is the new generation we live in. And this is something kids, not young kids, but, you know, my son Connor, who's 9, asks me about it all the time. Who's this, especially when Bin Laden was killed, it really started to come up. But I think this is this is the war, the World War IIs and the Vietnam Wars and everything else that we learned about when we were in school. This is very important for kids at the right age to learn about this.
I feel like the subject, no matter what your age, it's difficult to grasp. It really is. There's a lot going on. There's a lot of details. For younger students, as teachers, I think you got to kind of throw everything at them if they're at a high school level where they can understand and grasp all of these details, because hey, this is real life, this is what's going on, this is the war that's going on right now. Everything, you are affected by this, whether you know it or not, so you need all the details, you need all this information. Well, I think it's an important piece of history that needs to be addressed.
And you guys know, with anything with a tragedy, it depends on their age level what you say to them. I mean, you can simplify it for younger kids and just say some bad men, you know, crashed a plane. You know what I mean? Like, they don't need to know what terrorist means or all that stuff.
Depending on their age and how much they can really comprehend.
And I think the critical thing for kids and the blessing for kids is that 10 years to them seems like a lifetime ago. So you can almost use that to the advantage of making them feel safe, that this really did happen in their minds a long time ago. Just like when we were kids and, you know, with Pearl Harbor and things like that, it just seemed like distant past, and that made us feel like okay. You know what I mean? We didn't live through Pearl Harbor, so we didn't know what it felt like.
Yeah, I just, you know, like you said, I think it's an important, you know, my 6-year-old could care less about it. If I said, you know, September 11th, whatever, but my son, who's in 4th grade, it's time. It's time. He's smart enough to be able to log onto the computer and surf the net and surf channels and know what's going on in the world. That, you know, I think it's appropriate at that age. And, you know, is it going to scare him to get, Dad, I don't want to fly in a plane, it might crash into a building. Yeah, well, you know, I don't want to drive in a car.
Before September 11th, people felt that way.
I mean, it's, you know, it's, of course, plane accidents, but I do think, you know, at you know, 4th, 5th grade level, probably not a bad idea for teachers to notify parents and say, hey, listen, we're going to start talking about this. You may want to, you know, kind of buffer it a little bit.
You
know, say here's what's going to happen instead of just bombard. You know, I think that might be a good idea, sure, because it's a very sensitive subject. It's very raw.
You don't want your child surfing the net and finding this on their own. And then, you know what I mean? You want to at least be able to explain the bullet points of what happened before they discover it on their own.
And this is also so important that you can't dumb it down either.
No.
You know, it's an important piece
It's never going to go away, because
Yeah.
this is the type of thing we're going to be battling for our generation and probably theirs.
And everybody has different memories and different ways of handling it as well. I'm interested to see what people are saying today, Courtney.
Yeah, we're actually talking about how this should be addressed to the younger generations, and there's some different views there. We have some comments on Facebook and the live blog, so we will start there on foxprovidence.com. And Smokey Wolf says, I think the parents should tell the kids, and to get all the facts, I believe they should learn the history of it through school, is what she said. And Jean said, I still get very sad and fearful every time 9/11 comes around. I think children should learn at the proper age, you know, from parents, even by watching a TV memorial. But she said, although I think most school-age kids are aware of 9/11 in some way. So here's a poll, what we're asking everyone today. How should the events of September 11th be addressed to younger generations? A, through school curriculum. B, leave it to the parents. Or C, let kids learn through the internet or TV. Quite a few comments, some lengthy comments on our Facebook wall today. And Stanley Jamel said, although sensitivity to differences in culture and heritage should be emphasized, the basic truth should not be obscured. Archie Bunker says that the same way we heard about Kennedy, says our parents all remember where they were when they got the news, so we should do the same for 9/11. And Kevin says that we should let them see all of the footage as it unfolded, and a lot of parents, you know, may disagree with that. So we'll see what you all say in our web poll. We'll have those results, as always, at the end of the show.